Hey everybody, my name is Tanner Warder. I'll be giving a short talk today about my research here at the University of Wyoming as an undergrad, as funded through the Wyoming Research Scholars Program and the Wyoming Migration Initiative. Excuse me. Just love your guys' patience today. I'm not super great at narrated PowerPoints, so I'm sure I'll be moving my face kind of all around the place and in between deer's ears and things, so you guys can kind of see what's going on my screen. But appreciate you guys sticking with me through this, and I'm excited to tell you a little bit about what I get to do here at the university. So I'd love to start off just kind of explain a little bit about who I am. I grew up in a small town in northeastern Wyoming called Bighorn. Spent a lot of time outdoors with friends and family. Pretty much any excuse we can do or have to be outside. I love working with wildlife, hunting, fishing. Just love being outside. So that's why I came down here to UW to pursue a degree in wildlife and fisheries management with a minor in the honors program. And through that, I've had some great chances at experience just with wildlife, firefighting, just federally with private and university research. I love it all, and I've been very blessed here, especially through my funding through the Wyoming Research Scholars Program to be able to go out and do a lot of this work. I'm very grateful to be talking with you here today, and hopefully we can get through this all in a good amount of time so you guys don't get too bogged down, because I know there's a lot of other great things going on this symposium. So what do I get to do here at the university? I've done a small project working with ant strikes in Panama, which I'll be writing up here soon. We also assisted in some other projects there, as you can see on the top left, chasing some fish around and things in the rainforest. But the majority of my work here at the university has been with mule deer migration. So I'd love to spend some time talking with you about that today. Like I said, I'm funded mostly through the Wyoming Research Scholars Program, but I also get funding from Game and Fish and the Wyoming Migration Initiative and the co-op office here at the university. I'm under the advisory of Dr. Matthew Kaufman, should have mentioned that earlier, sorry, as well as Dr. Jamie Crate through the Research Scholars Program. So I'm very, very thankful that they're here to help guide me through all this, and I've had just an awesome experience. Can't wait to tell you about it. It's not over yet. The Red Desert to Hoback mule deer migration is the mule deer herd that I get to study, help study. It's not just me. These deer start out in the Red Desert, in their winter range, which is just east of Rock Springs, Wyoming, and then they travel approximately 150 miles each spring and each fall between their winter and their summer range. So the summer range will be up in the Jackson area up here. Sorry, my mouse is all over the place. So they'll be up in the Jackson area during their summers, and then in the Hoback Junction area, and then they'll come back down into the Red Desert every winter. So it's a pretty big migration, and there's a lot going on with it. Specifically, though, we like to focus on obstacles that these individuals get to face. And I apologize for the gruesome photos. I should have given you guys a heads up about that. But so now, be warned, I guess. Sorry, there's some kind of gruesome shots, but they are necessary to kind of help tell the story of why we study what we do. As you can see, fence lines are a big obstacle to these ungulates that migrate, specifically mule deer and pronghorn, but obviously I'm focusing on the mule deer. Other ones are environmental factors too. It's not just roadways and fenceways or fence lines and things like that humans create, but it's also natural barriers, river crossings, lake crossings. You can see here in the middle, this is a deer that's broken through and frozen in the ice. Couldn't get out once they fell into the lake. It's hard to watch, but it's also encouraging to know that we have an opportunity to learn from these animals and maybe even help them out a little bit if we can. That's always the ultimate goal here. So here's some photos. I'd love to just kind of walk you through a few shots of what these deer get to experience and what they're kind of faced with as far as challenges and obstacles. So here's another lake crossing. This is Boulder Lake, just southeast of Pinedale, Wyoming. As you can see, it's snowing. It's really cold. It's deep water. These deer are tough animals for sure. They endure a lot of cold temperatures, hard terrain, water crossings. Here's another water crossing. You can see this deer is completely submerged. He's swimming across. There's been some other footage produced from this particular spot showing deer, breaking through the ice just across the water, and a photo earlier that I showed of deer just getting caught in the ice, breaking through, and then dying in the water. It's hard to watch, but it's necessary for understanding what these deer face. A couple times a year, and while they're just in their winter and summer ranges, they're facing all these kind of obstacles. So how do I get to assess how these deer learn, right? So our main question is with all of these obstacles, how do deer and other ungulates learn to navigate them successfully? Because otherwise they'd all just get caught in the fence every time and die, right? Or drown in the lake. How do these animals figure this stuff out? And specifically, just as humans learn from their parents or mentors and others in their lives, we really are focusing on the fawns, also the other age groups, obviously, but really watching those fawns and how their mothers interact and other deer interact with them, to understand how they're learning to navigate these obstacles, because fence lines are hard. They're tall and they can be quite dangerous for these animals if they get a leg hooked. So I get to go out and put out trail cameras on the migration trails to try to capture the behaviors of these animals, which we then are working to quantify to understand their learning. So understanding how deer move across the landscape can be a bit of a challenge sometimes. I've definitely enjoyed that part of being out in the field and just working through some of this terrain and just trying to understand how deer think, which is not as simple as I would have thought it is sometimes, but it's just been an absolute blast to learn through that, and obviously we're still learning. So the basis, right, the building blocks kind of this project to understanding how deer learn to navigate these obstacles is where they are and what obstacles are they facing. So we get to use the collar data provided by the PhD student Anna Ortega. Don't really have a great shot of her. This is her here. So there's the top of her head. If you ever get to meet her, she's an awesome gal. Does some great work. Is still doing great work, and I'm excited to see how that all turns out for her. I know she's getting closer and closer every year to finishing that. But yeah, so I get to help them put out some GPS collars and take some samples, and then obviously I get to use the collar data, some of it, to help understand where the deer are moving. It's good to know the broad scale, right, winter range to summer range, but I also zoom in on smaller locations to see where they're crossing each fence line and which obstacles they're facing. I can see where they cross the rivers, the lakes, different fence lines. So the collar data is very important in one, saving me time walking around, wandering through the migration corridor, but also and just understanding their timing, how fast they're moving. Different models can predict and show how these deer move across the landscape using that collar data. But once I do find where they cross these locations, I get to go out and put up the trail camera, as you saw before. And on these obstacles, I put a little survey stake about 2 meters off the fence. Excuse me, not about, right at 2 meters off the fence. This is kind of what we call our interaction zone. So as the deer approach the obstacle, we're taking notes on their behavior, group dynamics, and individual characteristics. So is it a fawn? Is it an adult doe? Is it a buck? Are they injured approaching the fence? What time of year is it? Are they collared? Can we use that collar data to help us out anymore? But specifically looking at how they interact with the fence. So once they're inside this 2 meter interaction zone, we're looking at trial time. How long does it take them to figure out how to successfully navigate this obstacle? So that's one of the main ways we're going to assess their learning, is a deer that crosses the fence for the first time, maybe coming off a summer range. There's a fawn that hasn't seen many fences yet in its life, sees one of its first fences, such as in this photo, and it maybe spends 2 to 3 minutes trying to figure out how to cross the fence, versus after it's gone 150 miles all the way down to its winter range, and it sees a fence on its winter range and maybe spends 20 seconds crossing it, because they've done it multiple times, even close to 100 times throughout this migration between their summer and their winter range. So fences are not new at that point, but When they're young, this is a pretty new obstacle. So we look at how long it takes them to cross it successfully or unsuccessfully. If they get caught or if they walk away, that's unsuccessful, right? They have to try again. So trial time and their behaviors. How do they cross it? Are they nervous when they cross it? Are they stressed out? Are they visibly stressed out? We look for different things there, and what method they use to cross it. Whether they go under the wire, between the wires, or try to jump up and over the wires. And then also fence type. There's 8-foot elk fences that are woven wire, and then there's just 4-strand barbed wire. Another important thing we look at are environmental factors, snowpack, if there's a big storm moving through, things like that. And then also group dynamics. Is it just one deer moving, or is it 50 to 100 deer moving in one group? So that's all important stuff to understand when we're trying to quantify learning. Here's a video of a stressed out buck that just crossed Highway 189 north of Pinedale. Just kind of give you guys a visual representation of what these deer experience and kind of what my footage is capturing when I'm putting these cameras out. Let's see if I can pull up the next one here. Here we go. All right, so here's a group of a lot more deer moving in the spring. This is March 27th. So you can see the different age classes. These would be almost yearlings now instead of fawns. They were almost a year old now. And you'll see at the end of this video, there's also a predator that walks up that's visibly stressing these deer out. So they're moving a lot quicker now that they are in the area of a predator. And I think since they're in a bit larger group, they're not as worried about the predator, but if it was just one deer, it might be a little more stressed out. You see this yearling kind of struggle with the fence. The predator almost gets him, not quite. So it's a very stressful landscape, not only with predators and environmental factors such as snow and ice, but also, as you can see, some of these deer really struggle with the fences. Let's see if I can do a switch here. All right, so why do we do this work, right? Why does this matter? Why do we care how deer learn to migrate? How does their learning impact their conservation or wildlife management as a whole? Once we're able to understand more about how mule deer are learning to migrate and navigate these complex landscapes, we can better learn the impact we are having as a species, as well as other environmental factors that can be managed just to help preserve and conserve species, their habitats, a landscape from which we have a lot left to learn, honestly. Our world's an interactive landscape between us and nature. So no matter what, human expansion is going to leave its mark. We've all seen examples of that. If we put up a city or an oil well, deer lose a migration trail or entire habitat ranges. On the flip side, we need energy, and if wildlife graze all the forage, what's left for our livestock? The spread of disease between livestock and wildlife. There's endless issues, right? So management is very important, and this land is important. If we get a choice to we do get a choice to decide how we will impact it for our future generations. The Wyoming Research Scholars Program has provided me the opportunity to be able to learn how to just do that and study that here at the university. And there's many opportunities for students, not only doing something research like I'm doing, but also some different just opportunities to get out and understand more about how we impact not only animals, but the landscape around us. Thank you guys for listening so much. Thank you to the university, to my advisors, sponsors, friends, and family so much. It's just been a blast to work on this the last few years, and I would love to field any questions you guys have. I know I'll be on here for a couple live sessions to hopefully answer some questions, but if you guys missed that or just want to ask me a question at a different time, please feel free to shoot me an email there on the right as well. I should get back to you in a pretty timely manner, but yeah, thank you guys so much, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you.